Right, what's up, good people? Welcome to this other video, a quick one, and let's see what we can be expecting today. Today is on Friday. Hopefully, you can hear me. It ain't windy. So today is on Friday, and we have NFP, the first Friday of May, and yeah, let's see what price has for us for DXY, and then later on we'll be talking about EU, maybe gold, and then we can see how we can close this video. So from DXY, what you can notice is that the market has been really in a downtrend, and these consolidation that we have been having from last week. You can see we had long week, and currently this week's candle is seems to be a consolidation candle. So not really high probability conditions, but we're gonna try to see if the market is now aligning. So from the chart is the weekly time frame, and what we can see is that the market rallied higher into that weekly fair value gap, and I did communicate to my telegram about the possible reversal on the EU sell position that we have been having due to the tap of these DXY weekly fair value gap. So we stand into that after sweeping also the previous week's high, and currently what we're seeing is price seems to be dropping. So this was the last week's sweep, so I can get rid of it because I used that to see if the market would displace above it. Then I was to anticipate price delivered to the previous week's high and possibly to that fair value gap. Since now we have tapped into that level and we are rejecting, now I can change this color to red, which always tells me that we have already swept that previous week's high. And since we have swept that previous week high after tapping into that weekly fair value gap, seeing that nice rejection, can we possibly find a structure that we should be going lower? Because now we have this as our context area from the weekly fair value gap to this low. So if indeed the market is really bearish, this fair value gap should do its job by pushing price of this fair value gap towards these liquidities that have been engineered there. But also, before even the market rallies to that low, the first target to me whenever we have a long week like this is always the 50% of that week. So in this scenario, from the low to the opening of that candle to the low of this week, usually I want to firstly target the 50% level. But for now, since let's just mark up the 50%, and then we just delete this other one, so this should be black. All right, so that's the 50% level of that long week before the market rallies to the previous week's low, if indeed the market is bearish. So shortly, all right, so if indeed the market is bearish, as I was saying, of that weekly fair value gap, then the first level will be these, then later on we can check on that. So with that having seen the two levels being cleared, let's drop further onto the daily time frame so that we might frame how the market is reacting off the daily time frame. So of the daily time frame, what you're seeing is we have this higher daily fair value gap at this level, but the market isn't really hasn't really tapped into it. What you're seeing is staying into that weekly fair value gap, then the market is dropping lower, though we have that daily fair value gap. So if I get rid of this alert for now, because I know we're gonna be using alerts on the lower time frames, so possibly what we have from the daily time frame is we have a bullish fair value gap. So all right, so we have this daily fair value gap. All right, I think can move these lower and also these to the right. So we have that daily fair value gap. All right, come on. So we have the daily fair value gap that we have there, that if indeed the market is gonna be bullish, then maybe staying into that fair value gap. If we reject and we continue higher, then maybe target the previous day's high. But what we have already seen from the weekly time frame is we are rejecting key levels, and we are rejecting, so no need to be really currently what I'm seeing is we have 50-50 price action, and therefore what we need is more clarity and more price action, so that we may be certain of which direction we can anticipate DXY to rally to. So since we have this bullish fair value gap, and also from this daily time frame, you can see we have a daily fair value area. And you always know, whenever we have a fair value area, then if the market disrespects a fair value area, then what you can be coming, we will be going next for is the fair value area low liquidity. So we have these lows, so we can refine these 50% level towards, because we don't need many markups from our charts. So we have that fair value area low liquidities resting below here, that if indeed the market gonna be disrespecting that daily fair value gap, then this is the first target. Then later on the 50% of the weekly week that we have seen, and then later on the previous week's low. But we have to have in mind that it's currently on Friday. We have NFP that maybe will provide some bit of volatility, so we need to be keen on that also. So we have that daily fair value gap. If nothing really happens, if we don't disrespect that, then I'm still on the sidelines, right, to have some more confirmations. But if again we break through this fair value area high and we start displacing going higher, then we can anticipate to see the Thursday's high being taken. So this will be my critical high if indeed I'm bullish. If price breaks through that level, then I'll want to see the previous day high being taken. So yeah, we would want to see these highs being taken, the previous day's high, that's these highs. But for now, still leaning more of 50-50, and if we are bearish, this will be the target, and will determine how price reacts to the daily fair value gap. If we have a price maybe starting to disrespect that level, then we can target that low. So from the 4-hour, what we're seeing is that the market has been bullish as of yesterday, and currently what you're seeing is after we are below the previous week's high, we had swept it, that's why it's red, and we have fair value gaps being formed, bearish fair value gaps being formed. We have the daily fair value gap here. This candle didn't really tap into that level, and we have this. I'll get rid of this 4-hour fair value gap. Yeah, all right. So this was the fair value area low, but is also clear from the 4-hour, also from the high to the low. So these are the fair value area lows, and if we start displacing going lower, then this will be my first target, then later on that will be the level. And if you have maybe price forming fair value gaps, is a nice sign that we can be indeed bearish, but that hasn't really been tapped into or respected. So currently, unless the 1 hour has been forming fair value gaps that are being respected, over here you can see a small fair value gap overlapping with the previous week's high being tapped into. We didn't really have any other fair value gap, but what I need to have in mind, because of the NFP that we have, is these fair value gap over here. All right, so we have that 4-hour fair value gap. If price due to the NFP sinks into that level, and then we start displacing above, then the target, as I've said, will be that daily or yesterday's high, the day 4-hour FVG. All right, there we are. So around this level we will be determining whether we can be dropping towards this low or price could just continue higher of that level. So we are between at a level where we are 50-50. So until whenever we have been, but I've told you what I'm expecting. If this price is broken through with displacement also above the 4-hour fair value gap, then we can go in for buys. But if we break through these and we start displacing, I don't know whether that will happen today, but then this will be the target that I'd want to see the market gravitate to. So that is for DXY, and the opposite is true for EU and GU. And now we can have a look at what gold has. Personally, I want to be getting gold has been really not been clear. All right, gold, here we are. So I don't know, let me get rid of everything. No. Let's get rid of everything. All right, so we have a clean chart. Let's go from the weekly time frame, and remember the new month has just we have the new month just opened. So this month has 28 days before it closes, so nothing really much from the weekly, from the monthly time frame. This candle seems to be maybe manipulating the first part of the candle, maybe manipulating, and then we can see how price has been. But with the upper week we have a lot of rejection, which signals that we might be having short-term sells, but not really confirmed. We have to confirm that, and that is done from maybe the weekly time frame. So of the weekly time frame, what you can notice is price created the all-time highs at that level, then we did reject. This candle swept the prior candle's high and we closed inside the liquidities. We have this weekly fair value gap. All right, so we have this weekly fair value gap that has already been traded into right there. All right, so we have that weekly fair value gap, and I don't know whether I should duplicate that, but or clone it. But we also have this other weekly fair value gap resting below here, and we have possibly formed kind of relative equal lows. So but I'll just label it as a weekly fair value gap because I know we will be seeing the lows. So all right, so we have that other weekly fair value gap, but the first fair value gap has already been traded into, and we are seeing some rejection. So if indeed we are bullish, what can we target? We'll need to find that from the lower time frames. But if we're gonna be bearish below that, if we start again displacing below that weekly fair value gap, then we can expect the market to rally to that low as well as weekly fair value gap. So as of the daily time frame, what you are seeing, the market is forming a kind of a bearish structure, and this fair value gap, if you just observe correctly, you'll notice that it has turned into a fair value area, and I hope you always know how a fair value area maybe I'll turn this to red because that fair value gap has already been traded into. And what we have slightly above that weekly fair value gap is a daily fair value gap. So we have that daily fair value gap around this point. All right, we label that. Daily FEG. All right, so we have this fair value area that the market currently has already tapped into it, and since we have created an immediate rebalance, I don't want usually to have lots of markups, but this one is a key level of which also price might fail to just rally to the fair value gap and react of this IR that we have just seen an overlap. Let me align everything. All right, so that's the daily IR that the market has turned into. Let's have it as this purple. Yeah, so we have the daily IR. Also tapping into that the daily fair value area, because we are seeing which will be clear from the 4-hour, but of the daily you can also see it. We're staying into that IR, and also we have this daily fair value gap resting above that level. So the big question is it likely that we might see price deliver to that daily fair value gap, or price can just react going lower? And if we just if we see price deliver to that high, then is it also likely that we will be disrespecting this fair value area and we will be seeking the liquidities? So it's a big question to answer, and in these types of conditions, that's where you want maybe to be on the sidelines until clarity forms. So at this moment of the 4-hour, what you're seeing is price is currently at that weekly fair value gap, which has turned into the fair value area low, that if indeed the market should be bearish, this is the farthest way we want to see the market deliver and then continue lower. But since we have that daily IR around that moment in time, and we know we have fair value gaps so I'll have it at the top right. So we have that daily IR that current has been tapped into, and we have bullish scenarios that have been formed around here, the 4-hour fair value gaps going higher. But if we see a price rejecting of this level, then we will be in for shorts. But if we see maybe price push higher, maybe we can see market deliver to that daily fair value gap and then continue lower. So in this case scenario, I'm leaning on the fence. I'm just seated, just observing what price will be doing, not really rushing in until we start displacing with fair value gaps below that daily IR and weekly fair value gap. That's when I will be in for shorts, and also in for bulls. I want to see that daily fair value gap being disrespected and price displacing above that level. Then we can anticipate to see all these highs being taken. So we have these trendline liquidities above that level. That's what I will be trying to observe around that daily fair value gap. But as of now, want to see how NFP will be printing out around 8:30. So we are currently around 7. So within maybe 2 hours 30 minutes, we can be seeing is it 2 hours, or so around 3:30 8:30 I mean. So will be 4:30 Kenyan time. So I will be waiting until that time, then we can see how the candle will be printing out and see whether we can have the 9 a.m. candle and see what will be happening. So that's my outlook on DXY, and I've told you the opposite is true for EU and GU due to DXY. We will be watching how price reacts towards this daily fair value gap as well as this level for us to start engaging. So both DXY and gold
is at a 50-50 level. So for me, just will be watching how NFP presents itself. I don't usually trade NFP. Then afterwards we can check what we can be expecting. So that is it. See ya during the news. Also join the Telegram group for maybe lessons, and also for what I told you prior about the trades on EU. At this point we have a weekly fair value gap resting below here. This we saw the market drop lower, then we have currently rejected going higher. And for this position, I communicated via my Telegram that because DXY has already reached the higher time frame key level, which is the weekly fair value gap, of which we were to maybe consider a reversal. I communicated that trade was to be managed accurately. I don't usually tell you guys what to do. You need to make your own decisions. So I just gave you my point of view that DXY has already reached that key level, and of that you need to know how you can manage that position. So that is it. That's how you can use, even though we have this direction, DXY, whenever it reverses, EU and GU follows suit. So that is it, you guys. Hopefully I'll be seeing ya, and let's see what today has for us after the CPI, after the NFP. Till then, be safe, guys.